Like I already told you, man, Jaron Boots Ennis is in between a rock and a hard place. What is he gonna do? As of me recording this video, it is undecided. And now Eddie Hearn, his promoter, has spoke out. He says, quote, "I talked to Karen Chukadasian's manager the other night. We want to keep the IBF title." Right? So he just did an interview and says we want to keep the title. We're speaking to Karen's team. We'll see where it's going to take place. And yeah, we have an interesting decision to make, Eddie Hearn says. As far as the decision, we have to wait and see. So Eddie Hearn, I don't know. I don't know what they're going to decide to do. But like I keep saying, they're in between a rock and a hard place when it comes to Boots Ennis. And this is just, it's such a bad predicament and position. Ego thoughts, man. Let me explain it to you guys. This is why it's bad. Because for starters, Jaron Ennis, the whole purpose of him signing with Eddie Hearn is, people said, for new opportunities, take his career to the next level. I'm not seeing that. Yes, it's early. Yes, this is only his second fight, but it's second in failing. It's like, for example, if we're talking about 4 downs in football and you fumble on the first drive and then it's second and then you get sacked, that drive is not going great for you. These are the rules of football. Again, in football, if it's 4 downs and you have to decide if you want to punt on the 4th down or go for it, if you're in 4-down territory, and you fumbled the first time and then recover it for no gain, no positive gain, and then you get sacked 10 yards, now you're 3rd and 20. You see what I'm saying? And that's where I look at Jaron Ennis. You could have stayed with the people you were already with. And to me, this is just my opinion now, I don't see how you would be in a worse position. Possibly making less money. Because here's the thing. If he would have signed to PBC and Espinoza and stuff, they do good business. They do business that makes sense. So they're not going to give you no charity type paydays that you haven't earned from a statistical point of view as a fighter. And to be honest, this is what is effing up boxing right now. This fake inflation. You have people who are trying to be players in the game of boxing. So what they'll do is they'll waste their whole budget or a good portion of their budget, and they'll waste it on one fighter to lure the fighter, like a Jaron Boots Ennis, right? We're so thirsty and desperate to get this American potential star on our side that we're going to make him a deal. In the words of The Godfather, I'm going to make him an offer he can't refuse. So in doing so, and trying to make an offer that he can't refuse, you find a way to navigate that and secure the bag to get Boots on your side. But then now you're faced with these type dilemmas. And it's just looking like a show, right? Here's why. No matter what Boots does, unless it's some wild card that your boy Ego hasn't thought of, which is highly unlikely as far as I'm concerned, it is highly unlikely. Now, I'm human. I can make mistakes, but I find it highly unlikely because, first of all, let's be real. I'm a professional, the best in the business, and it's not even close. I've been in here. I've already charted these waters before, and people know the information on my channel and the breakdowns and the assessments. A lot of times they're valid, right? So when I'm looking at the situation, what does Boots do? He has a couple different options. Stay at 50 or stay at 47 and fight a fight that no one really wants to see. And then in addition, your promoter that you linked up with, they lost a purse bid, whether it was intentional or they didn't want to spend more money because they know that's a poor fight, so they wanted someone else to foot the bill. For whatever reason, your promoter lost a purse bid. That's a bad look. How do you sign a fighter the quality and talent level of a Jaron Ennis, and then you have a fight where you don't negotiate it amicably and it goes to purse bid, which, like, here's an example. Do you believe after all of this time, money, and energy that PBC has invested into making Gervonta Davis a star, right? Do you think that they would honestly allow his fight to go to purse bid to the point where Eddie Hearn or some other promoter could get their grubby hands on securing the Gervonta Davis fight with X, Y, and Z? Like if he had a mandatory or something. No way. It just wouldn't happen. Because, like, let's say El Rayo is Tank's mandatory at 35, I believe. So if that fight, they would just negotiate the fight with El Rayo and Gervonta Davis and get it over the line so they don't have to deal with the purse bid. Because if they didn't and it was something that got ordered, then Gervonta Davis, if him and his team and Valenzuela's team, El Rayo's team, did not negotiate within the proper amount of time, it goes to a purse bid on the designated date. So that would be catastrophic. Imagine if DAZN secured the rights to Gervonta Davis versus El Rayo. You know, like Turkey put up a bag or something. It just wouldn't happen. So to see Eddie Hearn get Jaron Ennis, lure him from the side he was already working with, get him over on the side, and his second fight, he's losing a purse bid. I really think that's a bad look. In addition, his second fight, no matter what, is looking like it's going to be a dud. So people are talking about, oh, but Jaron's making money. I mean, there's a lot of things you could do. You could do all types of sinning and consort with the wrong people and slang and be a do and all types of things to make money. Making money is cool, but do you want to risk going to jail? Do you want to risk having ops for some money? You know, it comes with something. So yeah, Jaron Ennis making money, if done right, he would be making money and getting the fights that build his young legacy. He's about to be 30. He's closer to 30 than he isn't. And he hasn't had one significant fight, and we don't know when these will occur. Crawford looks like he's calling it a career in the next few years, hasn't expressed much interest in fighting Jaron Ennis. So it's like, what does he do? Does he stay at 47, fight an uneventful fight again with Karen Chukadasian, but now on Chukadasian's promoter's terms, likely in Germany? Or does he say, you know, F the 147 weight class, welterweight, I'm moving to 54? People are throwing all these names. I was seeing Jaron Ennis and Virgil Ortiz and Jaron Ennis and Charles Conwell. Charles Conwell is a golden boy fighter. Eddie Hearn don't even like Oscar, vice versa. So how do you know that fight gets done, right? Charles Conwell is also, he's a very good fighter, but he's on his way up. So even it's a good fight for people in the know. But the problem they're going to run into specifically with Jaron Ennis is none of these fights are massive fights. So you got Jaron Ennis, who is a very talented guy, but he hasn't crescendoed. He looked like with Showtime, he was on his way to doing that. But now you went the money route with Eddie Hearn, and they're not securing you the big fights. So you never became a household name yet. And then the people that you could possibly fight, to me, that is realistic right now, aren't household names either. So what does that mean? How do you become a pay-per-view star like that, right? Floyd had to fight Oscar De La Hoya like Highlander to inherit and become the one. Money Mayweather. He needed that gateway. He needed that passing of the torch. But here's the thing. You got a person like Jaron Ennis. He's 27 with a mid resume. And then you put him in with the Charles Conwell. Again, it's a good fight for just boxing snobs, but it's not a good fight in terms of the business. Conwell's name is not buzzing. A lot of even diehard boxing fans may not have seen Conwell's last fight on that Sergey Boachuk card with Virgil Ortiz, right? So what type of business do you think you can even do? So for me, that just becomes a dangerous fight for both for very little. It would warrant very little in terms of the back end and the business. It's not a pay-per-view attraction. It's not a fight that's going to make a whole bunch of money, some crazy live gate, I would imagine, right? So that's the situation that Jaron Ennis, to me, is in. A lot of uneventful fights, unless, again, they come out with some crazy wild card that I haven't thought of, but good luck with that. So we'll see how it plays out. As of me recording the video, nothing has been made official. Will he fight Karen, his mandatory, under Karen's promoter's terms? Will he vacate? And I've already went over, make sure you check out the video. I'll try to put a card at the end of this video. But Brian Norman exposed a very interesting potential theory about Conor Ben. Conor Ben is rated number 3, so he could be set up to get a title fight with Karen if Jaron Ennis moves up and doesn't fight. So to me, that looks like a setup, because Eddie Hearn's been working with Conor Ben longer than he's working with Jaron Ennis, and they're both from the UK. So if you advise, or his team advises him to move up to 154, then that opens the floodgate for Conor Ben to try to creep in and get a shot at the Karen fight for the IBF belt. So basically, Boots, if he moves up, he's leaving the belt behind and allowing for another Eddie Hearn fight to happen. So to me, that looks like a setup. You got finessed out of your belt. Like I said, I don't do a bunch of jaw jacking and speculation. We'll see how it plays out, but it's not looking good.